Chapter 4. Use your unique gifts on your unique path. A winner is someone who recognizes his God-given talents, works his tail off to develop them into skills, and uses these skills to accomplish his goal. Larry Bird, 3-time NBA champion, 3-time NBA MVP, 12-time NBA All-Star, and a 1998 Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame inductee. We were all born with gifts and talents, whether we have identified them already or not. There are things that you innately do better and more effectively than anyone else on this earth. This is not just mere speculation, this is a fact. So own that, embrace it. You have talents that are unique to you and only you. It is not just enough to be aware of your gifts. You must also cultivate those gifts and use them to your advantage as you embark upon your journey toward accomplishing your goals and living the life that you want to live. Not everyone puts their talents to use, or even more importantly, molds them into skills. Oftentimes, talents get confused with skill, but the two are not the same. Talent is something that's innate. You are born with the ability to do certain things that come easy to you, without much, if any, effort. Contrarily, a skill is a learned behavior that requires you to work hard, persevere, and remain dedicated to refining it. A skill does not require you to be particularly talented at something either. However, if you develop skills that are closely associated with your talents, you're putting yourself in a position to sustain long-term success and master something that is both unique and interesting to you. As important as it is to use our talents to develop our skill set, a lot of people seem to have an unwillingness to do the required work. We touched on this in the previous chapter. There have been countless top high school basketball prospects that have never played in the NBA game. There are also multitudes of first-round draft picks who have ended up being busts in the NBA as well. Sure, there are many reasons why their professional careers didn't pan out, but one of the primary reasons is they relied solely on their natural abilities and did not work on their games or become skilled at their craft. They might have actually thought that their talent alone would be enough to get them through. Realistically, merely having talent is not enough if you want to be successful in the long run. One of my favorite parables in the Bible is the parable of the talents in Matthew 24:14-30. Jesus tells of a master who is leaving to go on a trip and entrusts a different amount of talents, currency, to 3 of his servants. One receives 5, another receives 2, and another receives 1. Upon returning to his house, the master finds that the servant with 5 talents and the one with 2 talents both flipped what they had and doubled their number of talents. He declared to them, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things." Conversely, instead of attempting to double the talent he was given, the servant with 1 talent buried his talent in the ground out of fear of losing it. The master scolded him, called him wicked and lazy, and took the 1 talent he had away from him and gave it to the servant who now had 10 talents. The moral of this parable is that we are rewarded when we use God-given abilities we've been blessed with in order to advance our lives. If you do more with what you have been given, you'll be able to accumulate more. Conversely, if you do nothing with what you've been given, that which you will have been taken away. You can either use what you have or lose what you have. Are you going to put your talents to use, or are you just going to let them waste away? The choice is yours. I've personally witnessed people squander their gifts because they're unwilling to do what was necessary in order to cultivate their natural talents into skills. I'm sure you can also name a few individuals who you've seen waste their gifts as well, can't you? There are endless stories of certain people who could have been There are endless stories of what certain people could have been and what they should have been had they utilized their gifts they were blessed with. My advice to you is, do not become yet another woulda, coulda, shoulda tale. Rather, identify what you're gifted at, work to develop a particular set of skills related to your talents, and make the most out of the natural abilities you've been blessed with in order to live your best life. If you are struggling to identify your gifts, ask yourself a few questions that may help you identify your natural strengths. What am I especially good at? What do I do best? What comes easy to me? What is an action that other people compliment me about regularly? Also, ask your parents, peers, mentors, coaches, teachers, and all those close to you what they believe your strengths are and what you're gifted at. Feedback from others can be a critical piece in helping you identify what you're talented at so that you can find and begin to make your own path. You may be gifted at cooking, public speaking, or making people laugh. You may be great at working with numbers, sketching people and things, or you can run faster than anyone you know. You may be able to relate to people, or you are excellent at writing. Whatever it is, you have an extraordinary gift that is waiting to be shared with the world. Even if you do not recognize it right now, there are things that are unique to you that can help you in your pursuit of living the life you have always wanted to live. Once you identify these gifts, through introspection and consulting those who you know best, then you'll be in a position to nurture those gifts and develop them into skills. After finishing a solid collegiate basketball career at Cal State Fullerton, Bruce Bowen entered the 1993 NBA draft. Unfortunately, he went undrafted. Between 1993 and 1997, Bowen played professionally overseas for the CBA for 5 different teams. If you looked up the definition of a journeyman in the dictionary, his name just might be cited as an example. In 1997, Bowen's fortune began to change when he was signed to a 10-day contract with the Miami Heat. In his NBA debut, he played 1 minute, but the fact remains that he still played. Get this, out of the 54 players drafted in the 1993 NBA draft, 11 of them never played a single minute in the NBA game. Bowen had accomplished something that even those who were selected by the teams had never done. Between 1997 and 2001, Bowen had stints with 4 different NBA teams. However, in the 2000 to 2001 season, he had a breakout year with the Miami Heat, in which he logged more minutes and scored more points that season than he did in his first 4 seasons in the league combined. During the 2000-2001 season, he also began to earn the reputation as a lockdown defensive player. As a result of his strong defensive presence, Bowen was named the NBA's all-defensive second team that season. In the 2001-2002 NBA season, Bowen joined the San Antonio Spurs, a championship-caliber team. In San Antonio, he established himself as one of the league's premier perimeter defenders and was regularly tasked with guarding the opposing team's best player. From 2001 to 2008, Bowen earned 8 consecutive nominations to the NBA All-Defensive First and Second Team, placed second in voting for the NBA Defensive Player on the year from 2005 to 2007, and was part of 3 San Antonio Spurs NBA championship teams. During those 3 title seasons, Bowen was in the starting lineup every single time. In 2012, the San Antonio Spurs retired Bowen's jersey, number 12, making him the 7th player in the franchise's history to receive that honor. This all happened for a player who, according to his coach in San Antonio, Greg Popovich, couldn't dribble, couldn't pass, but he shot threes in the corner and he played great defense. To be in a league full of dynamic, multidimensional athletes, Bruce Bowen's career excelled because he found one specific area to specialize in: strong perimeter defense. As a result, his career panned out better and lasted longer than a good amount of the 54 players who were selected instead of him in the 1993 NBA draft. Bowen carved out his own lane and worked to become undeniably skilled in a specific area: defense. He proved that all he needed to do in order to have a storied career in his profession was to acquire a specific skill set. This is what ultimately set him apart from everyone else and allowed him to be successful. Identify those areas in which you are talented in and find a unique lane that will allow you to experience long-term success. Let Bruce Bowen serve as an example. If he can be successful in a profession with extremely high turnover and he only had one legitimate skill, you can definitely experience success in your own personal and professional endeavors. But first, it's important to develop a set of skills that will set you up for success. Find your own lane. Hone your skills in a particular area, preferably one that will allow you to fully utilize the natural talents that you have been blessed with and can be used to your advantage. Why not become a leader or an expert in the arena that you are naturally skilled in and one that interests you? Work hard, of course, but also work smart and have fun while doing it. Continually improve yourself in relation to the endeavors that you're pursuing. The more you do so, the greater you improve the likelihood of long-term success. What's for you is what's for you. It's not for anyone else. Your path is unique to you and only you, as are the tools that you've been blessed with in order to actualize the life you've envisioned for yourself. Others have paved their own way, and you have the ability to do so yourself in a particular area. You have something special and unique to bring to the world that no one else does. Take this book, for example. There are thousands of self-help books that have been published throughout history to help us in our journey to achieve our goals. However, I truly believe that no one else could have written this particular book in this particular way except for me. By no means am I bragging or boasting. What I'm trying to communicate to you is that the task of writing this book was designated to me exclusively. There can be someone out there with the exact same title, the exact same principles, and even the exact same examples, but it will never be the same book. The task of writing this book was given to me specifically by God to bring into existence and share with the world. The same goes for you. God has called you to produce or to do something that only you can do, regardless of the magnitude of the contribution. No matter how seemingly small or large, during your time on this earth, you are destined to accomplish something that only you are meant to do. It's extremely important for you to operate daily in a space where you truly believe that you have something that sets you apart and that you were created to leave a positive and unique footprint on this world. Declare this truth to yourself. Remind yourself often that you have something unique to contribute to the world. Failure to recognize your ability to positively impact your own life and society as a whole can prompt you to begin looking outward. And when you look outward instead of inward, you fall prey to distractions that take you away from your own individual path, resulting in discouragement about your own prospects. In the age that we live in, particularly because of the wide use and notoriety of social media, we often see others flaunt their material belongings, routinely recount their own success stories, or even just outright brag about what they have and what they've accomplished. This can cause those of us who are still trying to figure things out and find our way to become disheartened if our life doesn't measure up to the lives that others are projecting on television and on social media. Between the ages of 22 and 25, I could not find a job in my field of study. Well, the word find is kind of a generous. It was more like no employer in my field would hire me. I had already earned my bachelor's degree and would go on to earn my master's degree during that time period, but still, every single job I applied that had any relation to my major had turned me down. As a result, in order to make ends meet, I had to take whatever employment I could find. The only place that would hire me was CVS Pharmacy. With 2 college degrees in hand, I was working at CVS, stocking shelves, unloading trucks, and taking out trash every single day. I recall becoming discouraged at times because I was broke, living paycheck to paycheck, dwelling in small basement apartments, borrowing from friends and loved ones, and trying to find my way, and wondering why the majority of my peers were seemingly thriving while I was struggling. But I had to remind myself that, and sometimes I still do, that I am on my own unique path, which means I am on a unique timetable, and that what others are doing has absolutely no impact on what is destined for me. Had it not been for that period of my life, I would not be the person I am today. I wouldn't have a secure job in my field of study. I wouldn't have started my own nonprofit organization working with youth in low-income communities. I wouldn't be traveling the world at my leisure. Lastly, I certainly wouldn't be in a position to write this book. My unique path has prepared me for where I am today. What's for you is what's for you when it's for you. Where you are currently in life is preparing you for who you are destined to become. When discouragement looms and you begin comparing your life to the lives of others, always remember that their life is their life. Their lane is their lane. Their definition of success is different than your definition of success. I'm going to stop here and start a second video for the rest of the chapter.